Hello and welcome to this podcast. My name is Sjösvärd and I'm a knitwear designer and a content creator. And this is the first episode of the year. Welcome to my knitting podcast. So, if you haven't been here before, I am a knitwear designer that's based in Sweden, and I live here in a small town called Örebro with my husband Robin and our daughter Hilma and our dog Eden. And I am mainly focused on cropped knitwear because I wear skirts and dresses all the time. So this is actually my own pattern, which is called Valkyria sweater, which released last year. I have recently wrote a book that's about, it's a knitting book, so it's coming out later this year. But now I'm finished with that one, so I'm looking forward to designing for my own brand again. And if you have been here before, welcome back. I hope that you enjoyed the vlogmas that I did, and thank you for all the views and all the comments and all the kind words and everything. So I also wanted to mention the knitting survey that I did at the end of last year. I'm going to talk about that in an own episode because I think it's going to be too long to talk about that in a regular knitting podcast. So I'm going to do that in another video, but it's coming. It's very much fun. I'm looking forward to sharing the information that I got from that knitting survey. So today we're gonna have a regular knitting episode where I talk about the things that I have finished, the things that I'm working on, plans for the future, and other bits and pieces that I've been thinking about. Yeah, and if you've been here before, you might know that I usually combine this knitting podcast with like tips about books that I've been reading or TV series that I've watched. And that will be the case for this one as well. Because I really enjoy the whole aspect. When I follow a person on social media, I usually want to know everything that person, watches, reads, listens to, just to get, because it feels like we're kindred spirits. So I really love to get the whole image of that person and what that person enjoys and everything. But I also wanted to take a bit of time in every episode of this knitting podcast to recommend another podcast. And today I actually have two. So I have, the first one is Gudrun Johnston. She had a YouTube channel before, but she started a weekly or bi-weekly. Yeah, I think it's every second. Sorry, I just saw the candles are not perfect. But she started doing like bi-weekly knitting podcast episodes, and she is the Shetland Trader. I'm just gonna look it up and see. So yeah, she's the Shetland Trader on YouTube, and she has released 3 episodes. She calls them Shetland Trader Chats, and it's really cozy. She's talked about some Shetland designing her mom did, and her background and everything. So it's really cozy, and I really like to listen to her voice when she talks. She also has a ton of tutorials, so it's a good channel to subscribe to. And then I have a tip of a YouTuber called Erika Loarenitz. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but so basically Erika, she test knitted for me in December for my Asinia cardigan that I can pop a picture here, and we got to talking because I had some issues with number counts and the pattern, like the front section. So we got to talking because when I emailed her, I noticed that under her name it said like Erika and then knitter, designer, and tech editor, and I was like, are you a tech editor? And we got to talking, because she's great. So she actually started or restarted, as I understand it. She restarted a YouTube channel, and she has uploaded 2 episodes, and it's a really nice, cozy podcast, and she has such a soothing voice, and she makes beautiful things, and yeah, I would really like to recommend her. I don't remember if I had finished this when I posted in December, like a regular knitting podcast, but if you follow me on social media, you might have seen that I released my Asinia cardigan pattern in December, and I'm really happy with this one. This was such a passion project. It was like I submitted the patterns for my book, like the first deadline in December, early December, and then I was just like craving to create something different, and this cardigan had been on my mind for months and months, but I didn't start it because I knew that if I started this, I would really like to knit on it all the time, and I had a book deadline and knitting deadlines, so I had to keep on with those. But now, as it's finished, I just casted this on and I love it. It's knit in 1 strand of platelupi and 1 strand in einband, so it's Icelandic wool, and it's quite a I would say it's quite warm, but as it's an open cardigan, it's a V-neck cardigan, you can see pictures here. It's a V-neck cardigan, so you can open it up and you can just have it open, don't have to close it, because it falls really beautifully as it's a V-neck. So it's a really nice one to have open. But yeah, so it includes both lace knitting, cable knitting, and rosetud, and some structure knitting. So it's a really fun knit, if I may say so myself. And I'm actually really looking forward to add a design to this concept. I'm not going to talk about that more now, but I think I've hinted on it on my Instagram account. Yeah, that there's a Asinia saga going on. So yeah, let's see about that. That's my first finished object, and then I have this one, which is not a recently finished object, but this is a sweater that I just sent out to test knitting. So like yesterday I sent it out to test knitters, and I'm really happy with this one. This is called Sigrun sweater, and it's knit in platelupi, 1 strand, but also 1 strand of mohair. So it's a really light and airy and fluffy knit. It's a quick knit. It's knit on 4.5 millimeter needles. It has a raglan shaping with quite a deep yoke, which I really enjoy. It has Latvian braid details, so yeah, it's kind of like a sister design to Vitra sweater, but that is 2-colored and a bit different, of course. This is more like an everyday raglan sweater, and it has a long cuff with a Latvian braid also above the cuff. This went to test knitting yesterday, and they had 8 weeks to test knit, and then I will release the pattern in the end of March. So I will keep you updated and remind you when it's, getting to release time. Yes. Okay, so I'm back from it became a lunch break where I, charged the battery, recorded a Patreon podcast, and then ate some lunch, and now we're back. Okay, let's move along to some whips. The first one I'm gonna talk about is one that I have been knitting on the last week, quite a bit, and I'm soon ready to part for the sleeves. So this is, sorry, I just dropped some stitches. This is the Rota sweater that I'm working on right now. This is becoming a pattern based on the Rota cardigan, but with a different, it's a different stitch gauge. It's a bit of a different take on it. So it's a raglan sweater that's supposed to be, I'm aiming for it to be a very well-fitted raglan sweater. So I'm doing a compound raglan for the first time, and if you don't know what that is, it's a raglan. As you see here, this is the raglan seam, and it goes like a diagonal from the neckband to the underarm, and this is where you increase stitches. So you increase on each side of the raglan seam, and then it creates this shape. But as the regular raglan, it's a bit problematic to grade in bigger sizes. So I wanted to make a compound raglan, which is where you increase more on the body and not as often on the sleeves in the beginning, and then you make a regular raglan increase for the most of the raglan seam, and then you have some increases on the bottom. So it creates like a S shape to the raglan, which makes it a very well fitted garment, and hopefully better for all of the sizes. So I'm knitting this, and this is the this is a 2-ply from Ullcentrum, which is a very nice yarn. It's a very soft yarn. I'm knitting in brown, like a dark brown, and it's their tweed collection, so it's very nice. I'm very much enjoying knitting with this one. It creates a beautiful fabric that is very soft and airy. I want the gauge to be not dense at all. I want it to be airy and, you know, flowy rather than stiff and dense. So I'm knitting on this one. Yeah. The next sweater that I'm knitting on is, very excitingly, okay, so the next one is this Yggdrasil t-shirt that I'm working on, and I have made the sleeves already. They are very short as it's a t-shirt, and I'm just knitting away on the body. The Yggdrasil sweater was the first pattern that I published, actually, years and years ago. It was 2022, so 3 years ago soon. But yeah, it has this braid detail in the raglan that continues down on the body, underneath the sleeve. And yeah, so I started this last summer, like this past summer, when Julie at Wool & Twine Fiber Studio, she released her yarn Linen. So this is a linen and wool blend yarn. It's an amazing yarn. I love to work with it because it's, if you have been working with linen yarn, you might know that it's kind of harsh to the hands, but this is so soft and so nice, and it has a really nice drape to it. And I think this is going to be a really good transition piece, and also a piece for Swedish summer, because it's not usually that hot here. It's not usually that hot here, but yeah. So, and the color is like a rusty, how do I describe this color? It's a rusty beige, I would say. It's beautiful. And as I said, I only have a few centimeters left on the body, and then I will do the ribbing. And I actually started grading it and writing the pattern up. So it should be out for testing kind of soon. So look out for that one. The next thing that I'm working on, there are very many whips right now that are in the middle of the process of designing it and, you know, writing the pattern up. So this is my folklore. This is a working name. It's not the name that I'm gonna call it later, I think. But this is the folklore sweater that I'm working on, and I have actually knitted this yoke once before, and I knitted in 2 plies of Nutiden, but I decided it's gonna be too warm to wear, so I reknit it in Lättloopy, and I think it's gonna be a very good gauge for like heavy merino for knitting from Olive. You can knit it in Fulcolana Peruvian Highland wool if you want to. You can knit it in like a wool cotton blend as well. So it's gonna be a very nice wearable knit, and I just finished the yoke and I'm parting for sleeves. I actually talked about this on my Patreon podcast last week, and I haven't done anything else to it since. So if you're a Patreon, you might have seen this twice and no progress in between. But I have been, I'm in the middle of parting for the sleeves. I just have to do some calculations for the underarm stitches. There we go. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it. I did a block. I did block it to see how the fit was, and it's really nice. I really enjoy the fit of this. I really enjoy the increases in this one, as it's in the middle of the repeats here. So yeah, working away on that one. There we go. Also, the last, I think this is the last whip. Yeah, this is the last knitting whip that is kind of like my design. This is the last whip that I have currently on my needles for my own design. And this is a, I have knitted body and I'm knitting on the sleeve right now. This is a raglan sweater with a structured stripe detail. And I already done the neck ribbing. I'm calling this, I named this the Krampus sweater, and it was, I kind of like the name still, but I don't know. The working name is Krampus, but it might change. So this is knit in 3-ply, Campus 3-ply, and yeah, it's a more of a boxy fit. It has a deep raglan, which I really enjoy at the moment because I really want just roomy, nice, cozy sweaters. So yeah, and it has some shaping in the back, and then you pick up for the neckband and do a Italian bind off, which is very nice. And yeah, you can see there are a lace element to the stripes. Yeah, I'm really loving this one. I haven't knit on it for a few days, and I don't know why. I just have done some other things, and I left it at home here when we moved our stuff over to my mom's house. But yeah, so I'm gonna pick this up again, and I'm gonna keep working on this one, because I think this is gonna be like a nice, this is also kind of like a looser gauge pattern, and I think it's gonna be a great sweater because it's not gonna be too warm, and it has this lace detail to it. And I'm also gonna make the sleeves a bit bigger because I just want it to be flowy and nice and oversized and a bit boxy actually. So yeah, that is something that I'm working on as well. And the last whip that I have knitting wise that isn't my own design, or it is my own design but I'm not gonna publish it as a pattern, it's this one. I just knit a bit on the raglan, and this is a fisherman sweater for my brother. I actually made, if you hang around on my social media, you might have seen that I knit this exact sweater for Robin for his birthday, and it's a whole thing. But I made my brother Gustav a similar sweater, but with Rauma Finull instead. So it was much thinner needles, but he worn that out, like really worn that out. It's falling in pieces. So as he gives us quite a lot of meat because he's a hunter, I offered to knit him a new sweater, and he said that he'd love that. So I'm knitting him a fisherman sweater in Campus 3-ply, which I'm loving right now. It's a really nice yarn to work with, and it's just a simple classic pattern that it's a raglan. I improvise it, and it's really nice because I can just mindlessly knit on it, because I already made one for Robin, and that's slightly too big for Gustav, so I can just make it like one raglan increase less, and know that it's gonna fit him well, which is nice. So yeah, that's my knits whips. That's what I'm knitting on right now. I'm going a bit back and forth between these projects, knitting on the thing that inspires me most right now, which is the way I want to do it. So it's really nice. I have like the urge for new sewn dresses. I don't particularly like the process of sewing. I know that Sara Wallgren talked about this on her latest podcast. Was it her latest podcast? I think so. Yeah. That she is a process knitter, but a product sewer, and I'm exactly the same. I love the process of knitting. I love knitting on a project for a long time, like redoing. I can rip it back. It's no fuss. But when it comes to sewing, it's not my best craft. I really enjoy the aspect of having handmade clothes that fit me well. But yeah, it's not my favorite thing to do. So, but I do want a balloon sleeved dress. So I'm working on that right now. It's at my mother's house because I set up her sewing machine over there, so I can work on that during the evenings. So yeah, and I also have bought linen fabric to make one of my classic black linen dresses, which is something that you will hear more about this coming spring. So just leaving that out there. Yeah, that is my works in progress. I do a lot of swatching right now because I want to plan the rest of my year in knits. I do have some creative space because I am very much a person that goes on inspiration. So I do have like a bit of room to move things around. But the whole spring is planned, and most of the summer and some things during fall and winter is planned. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of swatching because I have certain garments that I want to try to create. I have them in my mind and I want to create them, and I have certain elements of knitting that I want to learn, that I want to design, to have a well-rounded palette in my knitwear brand. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of swatching right now. Oh yeah, I also have, how could I forget that? It's here. I also did cast on a sweater this weekend because I'm trying to keep the weekends for creative stuff that isn't work most of the time. I'm trying to do a project that I can have over a few weekends there's no rush. So kind of like the sewing part, it's kind of like a weekend project. I don't usually have time to work on that during the week. And this was something that I just cast on because I did some clearing out of my stash. And I do have a lot of 2-ply wool at home in different colors, but I also have kind of like a color scheme that I keep to when I buy yarns, so they all kind of matched, and I saw a striped sweater in my mind for Hilma, so I did cast that on this weekend and knit this during the weekend. It's not finished, but it's not far from finished. So I made this so far. This is pink. It shows up as more like purple, but I don't know. Yeah, it's pink. So I'm making this tiny striped sweater for her, and I love it. It's just so much fun to just knit in scrap yarn, which is not my thing usually, but when it's for Hilma, it's so cute and tiny, so I just enjoy it very much. I really enjoy this raglan, when like the color changing raglan. Really love that. So this is 2 strands of 2-ply wool yarn, and then I just change the color when I feel like it or when it runs out. And the sleeves, I'm thinking about making one of the sleeves, because I have some left of the yarns in these colors, but I don't think I have enough to make 2 sleeves. So I'm thinking that I might do one sleeve in the gradient that I'm doing on the body, and then one sleeve in another, or maybe both sleeves in another gradient. I have to think about that, but yeah, so I might go to a more like a green, like a forest green after this yellow on this sleeve, and then on the other side I might go for like a rust colored again. I don't know. So yeah, I know this isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I really enjoy knitting. It feels like play for me to do that. I don't have to think about how I want it to be designed, you know. It's really nice. And I'm thinking about making it a bit long for her in the sleeves and in the body, so because it's already a bit wide for her, which I think is nice. So if I make the sleeves a bit longer, it will last her a long time. I'm thinking maybe even over autumn, because I think this would suit my niece, which is a year older than Hilma. So I'm thinking it might even last for the whole autumn also. You never know. And we used wool sweaters for Hilma during all of the summer, even though it was warm, because, you know, they have to keep warm. And it's a cool, even if it's a warm summer in Sweden, the nights are usually kind of cool. So yeah, that's a really fun knit, I would say. Yeah, okay, so some things that I'm looking forward to sewing. So I have a thing that I have been noticing that I lack in my wardrobe. It's not a wardrobe. Okay, so it's a tote bag. Because I'm going from home to my office, and now from my mother's house to my home to my office. So it's a bit of traveling for me right now, and I need a really good big tote bag. So I need 2 bags. I need one that's a medium size, but a bit bigger than the usual like tote bags, you know, with prints and everything. So I need like a size up from that, and I also need like a really big one, like an IKEA sized one, because when I go away from home to work, and I have, you know, a few different sweaters that I need to grade, or that I need to bring with me to be able to weigh them or look at them or do anything with them. I'm bringing that with me. I'm also bringing my computer, my camera, my knitting bag, my notebooks, maybe a book, my lunchbox, my thermos with my coffee, my water bottle, you know, there's tons of things that I need to bring with me every day. And I think I need a really big tote bag that I can put all of those things in there. And I'm also thinking about making a compartment thing so maybe I can have 2 compartments, or maybe 3. So if you have one big tote bag, and then I can make a compartment in the middle, and then 2 on that side and 1 big, or something like that. So I'm thinking about that, and I want to make that. I might even find a pattern for it, even though it's not that hard to sew. I just want to make it as a mindless thing. Just pick a nice fabric and then make the tote bag. And I also want to make the handles like a very short handles and also one that I can have over my shoulder, because I think that's really good for me. And then I want to make like a in between that big one and a regular sized tote bag, just to when I need to bring a few more things, you know, just to have that in between size. I think it's going to be nice. And I have been looking at is it called Noodle Head? They designed the Maker backpack. Noodle Head 531, Anna Graham. She made the Maker backpack, which is a backpack that I really want to sew someday. The Maker backpack looks like this and it's really beautiful. I've been wanting to sew. I actually have all the pattern pieces like printed out and everything. But they also have Oxbow tote, which is a big one. And I think you can make it without the zipper, which is something that I really want. Like I really want the bag without the zipper, like an open bag. And they also have Pepin tote. That's the one that I've been looking for. That's the one that I've been looking at for the medium sized. So Pepin tote, I will make for the medium size. Or maybe I will make one based on the IKEA. Maybe I will do that. Yeah. Okay, so I will keep you updated on that one. That is taking up a mind space for me right now. But I really need that bag, actually. The last thing that I'm gonna show you is an acquisition, and I have been holding off on buying yarn and everything because I'm going to Sy- och hantverksfestivalen in Stockholm, which is a festival for sewing and yarn. And then I will also be working at Fårfesten i Kil, which is a sheep and wool festival in Värmland. And then I'm also going to Fårfest i Kil, which is a sheep and wool festival. And I usually buy a lot of yarn. But yeah, so the only thing that I'm allowing myself to buy right now is Knitwear, and it's only, I think this is the last collection before, I don't think they have one before Fårfesten. I don't know. But I got some fibers from them. I got this Elvira, which is a fiery rust colored wool fiber, it's amazing. I got it yesterday, and I was supposed to just go home here to pick up some packages outside our door. This was one of them. And then also just grab some things, water the plants, and then go. But I had to sit down for 5 minutes and spin some of this fiber because it's amazing. The color is magical. And I'm very much looking forward to spinning these up. I have 400 grams, so I think that's going to be enough for a sweater for me. So I'm looking forward to spinning this and then designing in it. That's my plan. And maybe then not a sweater. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe not a sweater then. I don't know. Maybe I will. And then add some yarn alternatives, because if you go engage, you can totally design in a hand spun yarn if you go because you go engage anyways. So yeah, I have 400 grams of this beauty, and they have like a Patreon shop. It's one of their changes for this year. They have like a physical shop, but you can also, as a patron, you can email and order yarn from there. Or fibers. So yeah, I want to spin this up so badly. It's magical. I actually considered taking my spinning wheel with me to my mother's house, but I don't think I'm gonna have the time over there to spin, so I'll keep it here. But it's very soft. It's a very nice color. It's my color 100%. I might even do like a one strand of this and one strand of mohair or something for the design. I also wanted to mention a thing that happened, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. So Helene from Fable Knitwear posted stories on her Instagram yesterday about a Discord server that were sharing purchased patterns. So this Discord was, I don't have all the information. I have never seen this Discord server. I've never been in there, but I have seen the conversations that Helene posted on her Instagram account in her stories about this, because she found out and she talked to one of the moderators about it, and this moderator was very what should you say, the person was very sorry and asked if Helene wants compensation, and said that they were gonna take the patterns down and everything. So the whole premise of this Discord chat room was to share purchased patterns, so not free patterns, from designers, for everyone to just grab a copy. So this is an illegal thing to do, because the patterns that we write are copyrighted, and you can't just share copyrighted materials for free. That's illegal. That's like copying a movie and sharing it on Pirate Bay, kind of like that. And the thing is, this moderator told Helene that this group was like created in the heat of the moment, and they just didn't think about it was being wrong as something that was being wrong. They just went with the flow, I guess. And I can get that people do this. And I think Helene had a really nice... She was very angry, which I am also, about this group. And she told them to take everything down because they are taking paychecks from designers. They're taking money from designers by publishing these for free. And this is our job. So this is our work. This is our livelihood. Many of us work as knitwear designers nowadays, which is a new kind of occupation that hasn't been around for that long. So she asked them to take all the patterns down, and now I've been told that the server is closed and all the patterns are taken down. And the moderator that she was talking to was very, seemed very apologetic, and they seemed to get where she was coming from, which is very nice. And I think that was a really good contact to have. And as I said, the patterns are taken down. But I also learned that the moderators, I don't know if that moderator that she talked to was a part of this group, that are planning to start this up again, which is so disheartening. I'm feeling so sorry for all of the knitwear design. I haven't seen the contents on this page, so I don't know if my patterns are on there. But I feel so sorry for all the designers that put so much work. I know how much work it is to write, design ideas and knit the garment, and then write a pattern about it, grade it, and host a test knitting, and all of these kinds of things that you have to do to publish a pattern that others can knit from. And then I have never seen a pattern that's charged for a pattern designer that charge for more than like €10 at most, £10 or €10. I have my sweater pattern, my like bigger garments, for 95 Swedish crowns, which is under $10. And I think that is if you genuinely don't have the money to buy a pattern. I have given out patterns to people who don't have money to buy patterns. And when I told my husband about this, he was like, yeah, I'm not surprised that this happens, because this happens in all of the branches of businesses, wherever there is paid material, that material is posted for free somewhere, which is wrong, of course, on so many levels. But I also didn't think that the knitting community would do this. I don't think that any of my followers do this, because I have the faith in them, in you that watches this video. I don't blame anyone, and I don't, I don't judge people that easily. But it's just that the moderators, but I know that the moderators told Helene that they were planning to start this group again, and that they were very disrespectful towards her and her choice of work. So it was a really sad thing to see. But I also posted this on my Instagram stories, and I got tons of messages from people who were just shocked and couldn't believe their eyes either. So, I think I have the best followers ever. So I don't feel unsafe in this environment that we have, like my space here on YouTube or on Instagram or anything. It's not a difficult subject to talk about, because it's very black and white. It's illegal and it shouldn't be done. And I also want to emphasize that there are so many free patterns out there, and there are also library books that you can borrow from the library, which makes the creator of that book to get some small compensation for that. And I don't think that anyone here, I just want to clarify that I don't think that anyone here has made this. I just wanted to talk about the problem in general, because I really also think it's problematic to share like videos, not videos, but movies and audiobooks and books and everything for free. If it's copyrighted, it's a reason why it's copyrighted. So, okay, I just wanted to touch on that. It's a really hard topic to discuss, I think. Okay, so I want to end on a happier note. And after Christmas. Yeah, after Christmas, I was at my grandmother's house, and she's the one that taught me how to knit and sew and crochet and embroider and everything. And her mother was a teacher in crafts. And my grandmother, her name is Kerstin. So we were talking about sewing, because my grandmother has loss of sense, loss of sense in her fingers. So she has a trouble picking up a needle, and we talked about needles, and she was like, I need to have a bigger needle. And then we got into the topics of needle sizes. And she showed me one needle case that she got from her mother, and she gave it to me because she don't use it anymore, but she knows that I enjoy these kinds of things, so she gave me this one. Yeah, so this is a really cute envelope, and it's open. It opens in the back. It folds like this, and inside here is the needles that my grandmother's mother used to sew with. These are so thin. It's like, I'm gonna grab one and show you, just for a reference. I don't know if you can see, but they are so thin. And my grandmother's mother sewed with these until she died. Like, she used these for all over her life. And it was such a beautiful envelope and such a beautiful packaging, that I just had to show you. It's so small, tiny. It says Betweens, Leo Lammerts, number 8. So I'm thinking there's even smaller ones. Oh, there were even smaller ones. I don't use them. I just have them as a memory. But it's really fun to have those kinds of things, I think. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, as I'm doing knitting podcasts regularly again. And I also want to tell you that I have a Patreon page. So if you want more materials from me, there's an extra video a month. There's an extra audio podcast every month. I also have, if you're a patron of the highest tier, you get my newly published patterns for free on release day. You get like deep dive posts, and you get like photo dumps, and yeah, all kinds of things. There's I think there's over 25 videos there now if you want to see some more things from me. And I do like vlogs, and I do deep dive episodes. And the last thing is that I want to tell you that I have a newsletter. And this newsletter feels very much important right now, because Instagram feels kind of like a wobbly place right now. And Instagram is the place where I usually have most of the contact with you guys. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can do that as well. But I also want to tell you that I have a newsletter, and that I send out a weekly newsletter with updates on my designs and my life in general, and also tips and things that I like. Test knits, go out there first, and it's a good place to hang out if you want to have more content from me. So yeah, I will add the link to the newsletter as well down below. Okay, so now my voice is going, and I really have to start getting ready to go back home. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm very happy to be back doing monthly knitting episodes, because it feels so nice to connect with you guys on YouTube. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time with a new video. Bye!